Hi everyone, it's your boy Master Chief Mike again, and this time we are talking about my wrestling clothes. All my wrestling clothes that you can see here. T-shirts, cappies, and everything else you can imagine. And yeah, in this video, this will be a 4-part series. Part one of a 4-part series. We will talk in this first video about t-shirts that I have from wrestlers that I not directly from wrestlers, but I have bought because they are from the wrestlers. They are formerly WCW superstars that became later WWE superstars, and also we will talk about another independent company, because I have a t-shirt from that, and also we will talk about a wrestler who wrestled there, because I have a t-shirt of him too here, and also a cappy of that company. This is what we are talking about in part 1 of this series. So let's get into it, shall we? So let's look at the t-shirts now. This one is actually not really a wrestling t-shirt, but it was sold by the DDP Yoga Shop, and DDP was a former WCW wrestler, and yeah, he was also a WWE wrestler later, but his WWE run was sadly not as good as its WCW run. He dedicated this t-shirt from DDP Yoga to a police officer. For those of you who know the story, this is his badge number. He dedicated this t-shirt to this police officer because he is an absolute hero. I think he can't be a police officer anymore because of what happened. I can't really recall the full story, but this guy is a complete hero, and I'm happy that DP showed that, and in this one video that he made about it. I will find a link to it. I will search for it and find the link to it, and I will put it in the description for those of you who are interested to see the story of this police officer. Was like I've said, an absolute hero, I think. And yeah, DDP dedicated this t-shirt to him, and rightfully so, I think. Yeah. Here you on the side you can see the blue line flag, and here the DDPY fitness logo, fitness is you can see that stands right under the flag. It's written under the flag. DDPY fitness is written under the flag. Sorry, I'm a little bit tired right now because I It was a hard week at work, and that's why I'm a little bit tired. But this is the first T-shirt. It's from DDP Yoga Shop. It's a limited edition. It was made for this hero, no, for this police officer. DDP Yoga is a pro police man. No, he's very pro police, and yeah, he is he is one of the coolest people in the world. He helps a lot of other wrestlers, and not only that, he helped other people too. He made many great things for many people. He saved lives, actually. No, and yeah, he is an absolute hero himself. For those of you who know Diamond Dallas Page, uh, everybody knows this guy is awesome. This guy is an absolute awesome human being, and he deserves everything good that happens to him. Everything good, uh, every good thing that happens to him, he deserves it. He's an absolute hero. Here, the next T-shirt is a DDP T-shirt as well, but it's not from his DDP Yoga shop. It's a wrestling T-shirt, and it's a retro shirt from his WCW days. You can see it here, Diamond Dallas Page, the master of the diamond cutter. Diamond Dallas Page, DDP. Here. Awesome T-shirt. It has nothing on the back. You can see it here, but it is a cool, really cool T-shirt, and I wanted it. He's a free time. WCW World Heavyweight Champion. He is also a former United States champion, I think, and a former WWE European champion. He has a feud against a feud against the right feud, a rivalry, however you want to call it, against the Undertaker. It was not the best story, but I mean, to have a rivalry against the Undertaker, that means something. And since DDP is an absolute top guy, I haven't seen the full rivalry, to be honest, but the story was made really bad, I think, because and I've heard that too, because the story was that DDP became a stalker of the Undertaker's wife, and he hid his identity behind a mask. Nobody knew who the stalker of his wife was, and at the end he revealed his identity, that he's the stalker, and that he wanted to come after the Undertaker because he's the big dog, because he's the man in WWE, and that's why he wanted to stalk his wife, so that the Undertaker has a reason to wrestle him. And he wanted to come after the big dog because he's one of the greatest superstars in WWE. At that time, I believe it was still the WWF, but yeah. Here, but for those of you who know the story, it was not the best storyline, and at that time, Vince McMahon wanted to make many WCW wrestlers look bad. He wanted to make them look bad, and yeah, the bad storylines and everything. Yeah, he wanted to show the world that his WWE superstars are better than the former WCW superstars, and I don't know why he did it, because he already won the war. He bought WCW, and the wrestlers, I mean, they are really great talents, especially people like DDP, people like Booker T, ne? And many others. Ne? But he wanted to, I guess, humiliate them. And I think some of his former superstars that came back to WWE, I think he wanted to revenge a little bit, because they left his company for WCW. No. Some of them, like people like Kevin Nash and Scott Hall, no, they left WWF for WCW, no, or Bret Hart, no, who left WWE, back then WWF, for WCW too. No? I think he wanted to revenge on them too, and I haven't seen the full story, because at that time, when he bought the WCW, I saw the last episode from WCW on the German TV, on German free TV, and then WCW were only to see on pay per on pay per view. So you pay TV. Excuse me. And this is pay per view on this, with a pay per view box and everything like that. And I don't have had that money at the time to buy me a pay per view box from the company Premier, I think was the name. To see all the wrestling shows that I wanted to see. So I couldn't follow what was going on in WCW. And I haven't seen all the alliance storylines and everything like that at that time. But now I can see them on the network and everything like that. But at that time I couldn't see that, and yeah. Later, then a friend of mine showed me that WWF was on another German free TV channel, German free TV channel. So I could watch that, but I wasn't really a big fan of WWF at that time, because the characters in WWF were more science fiction like than in WCW. Many characters in WCW, I think, were more more relatable than the characters from WWF. I liked many characters in WCW way more than the characters in WWF, because there were too many figures that I don't liked, because they're like science fiction figures, like the Undertaker. As the Undertaker was at that time Still, no, he was already the biker. That's what I liked. But then there was a Kane. Then there was some other characters that I don't like. Strong. Goldust was one of them. Um, and many other figures that I liked. I didn't like the science fiction figures. Mankind was one guy that I it was not my thing. Uh, the Rock. I wasn't really a fan of the Rock. Yeah, you can believe me. I didn't like him at all, and yeah, these days I find him better, but his character, I didn't like his character because the Rock says this, the Rock says that. I hated it because he talks always in the third person of himself, and I didn't like that at all. I liked his in-ring work. That was awesome. I liked his technique. I like his in-ring work. He was an awesome wrestler, and still can do awesome things in the ring. But yeah, back then I didn't like this character that much, and yeah. But that is it. Here you can see the next T-shirt from Booker T. He was a WCW wrestler who became a WWE wrestler. You know that here, this T-shirt I bought from Amazon. The original WWE T-shirt had something on the back. This has nothing on the back. I believe the original T-shirt says "Can you dig it, a sucker?" But this one has only the front picture, no, with Booker T on it and his shadow and everything like that. No? But I like Booker T. I was a big fan of Booker T way before his WWE run because I liked Harlem Heat. Harlem Heat was one of the coolest tag teams I've ever seen. He, with together with his brother Stevie Ray, I was a big fan of them. Uh, I I liked the music. He still had the music in WWE, which I was happy about. Uh, I I liked the fact that he still had this music and everything like that. That was awesome. And um, when I saw him in WWE, that I didn't knew at first that he was a five-time WCW champion because when I watched WCW, he didn't was a WCW champion, and at that time he didn't won the WCW championship. He was still attacking with his brother back then. Yeah. Um, it could be that I forgot it because it's a long time ago that Vince McMahon bought WCW, but at that time, I believe when I watched it, he wasn't uh, a world champion. No. So yeah, to the next T-shirt, here we see the Rapid Wolverine, Chris Benoit. This T-shirt I bought on Amazon too because you can find any Chris Benoit T-shirts uh, on the WWE shop anymore. You probably everyone knows the reason why. but he was a awesome wrestler. He was the best technical wrestler on God's green earth, God's green earth, and he was awesome. He was a incredible wrestler. Uh, he was at first together uh, within a team. He was a part of a team that were called the Radicals. I think they were called in WCW the Revolution. But yeah, he was with Eddie Guerrero, Perry Saturn, Dean Malenko together in a team, and yeah, they debuted uh, together there, and yeah, Chris Benoit was one of my favorite wrestlers. Uh, but we will talk about him in another video uh, because we know what happened with him, and I will talk about that story in another video. But for me, he will always be one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, and that will never change. That will never change. I obviously, I obviously uh, hate what he did at the end of his life, nah? And I don't. Uh, and I know I'm not one of the guys that thinks that somebody else did what Chris Benoit did. I'm not one of these people, but I don't think that this was the Chris Benoit that we all know and loved, that we all knew and loved at that time. I think this was the Chris Benoit that his that the brain damage. Uh, he had a his brain was damaged. We all know the story. He had the brain of an 80-year-old, and also he was on steroids. No, he was on steroids. He took so much steroids that I think he wasn't in his right mind when he did what he did. I think it was steroid rage what made him do it. I think the steroid rage is the reason why he did what he did. But because Chris Benoit wouldn't have done it if he were uh, if he would have been in the right mind at the time. If he were back then in the right mind and didn't had his problems with his brain and all the steroids that he took, I if he would have been in his right mind at that time, he wouldn't have done it because every one of his friends talked about him well. Everyone who knew him loved him. He was like a brother to them. He was like the best friend, né? And yeah, everyone talked about him well, but everyone knows what he did at the end, and I understand why they don't want him mention. I understand why they don't want to mention his name in the shows anymore. I understand why they don't want to induct him into the Hall of Fame. But what I don't understand is why Chris Benoit, Chris Benoit's son, has to be the one who is the one who has to suffer because of his of what his. I'm sorry for the stuttering. I don't understand why his son has to suffer the consequences because of what his father did. Because David Benoit is a pro wrestler. David Benoit wanted to be a tag team with his little brother, with his little half brother, but yeah, obviously he can't be a tag team anymore with his brother because his brother sadly died because of what his father did. What you've seen on this T-shirt, I'm sorry that I haven't forgot to talk about it, is Chris Benoit as WWE World Heavyweight Champion. With the big gold belt, I will open the shirt for you again. Yes, you can see him as the World Heavyweight Champion, the Rapid Wolverine, Chris Benoit, and yeah. And it was him as a World Heavyweight Champ. He won it against Triple H and Shawn Michaels in a triple threat match at WrestleMania 20. This scene with him and Eddie Guerrero in the ring will never be forgotten. But sadly, they erased the history of Chris Benoit. I understand that he will not be inducted in the Hall of Fame. I understand why they don't want to mention his name, but he is part of history. Randy Orton won his first World Heavyweight Championship against Chris Benoit. MVP won his first title, the United States Championship, against Chris Benoit, if I remember it right. And he had a very funny feud with Orlando Jordan. And he had a very good feud with Booker T. And he had awesome matches with Kurt Angle. So I think his history, his match history at least, shouldn't have been erased from history. Because many wrestlers has wrestled him who are big stars now, and he had very cool storylines with them and awesome matches. Like Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle talks these days about his matches with Chris Benoit. He obviously don't find, and he obviously hates what Chris Benoit did at the end of his life too. Everybody hates what Chris Benoit did at the end of his life. No? And every one of his friends didn't hate what he did at the end of his life too, no? Obviously. But I don't want to talk about that in this video. I will talk about it in another video. So this right here is not a WCW t-shirt. This is a WXW t-shirt. This has nothing to do with WCW or WWE. This is another company, and yeah, We Love Wrestling is one of their shows, and this company is an independent company. Some WWE wrestlers are from there, like Gunther, or Ludwig Kaiser, or I think Giovanni Vinci too. But yeah, Alexander Wolfe, former of who was also a WWE superstar, is ex-Tischer now in wXw, and he was part of Imperium too. And yeah, some AEW pro wrestlers are from WXW too, like the Commander. You can see the Commander on WXW 2 on the WWE network. This is absolutely. I fell in love with WXW when I saw the episodes on the WWE network, and I was following the story of the German commentator Sebastian Hackel. Sebastian Hackel. Sebastian Hackel, the Hackman, wanted to win the Unified World Heavyweight Championship from wXw, West Side Extreme Wrestling is the full name of the company. The Hackman had a t-shirt. He was also an independent wrestler in the past, so he wanted to finish his story, if you will, and win the Unified World Heavyweight Championship from wXw, and got back to wrestling and trained and everything like that. And he made this t-shirt here with a sign in the front, and here with Sebastian Hackel, Hackman, on the back. And I needed to have it because I wanted to see the Hackman winning the Unified World title, but he was was taking part in a pay-per-view from wXw, and he was part of the shortcut battle royal, where he could win a shot at the world title, but sadly he didn't win. But he had a few matches there and was pretty successful, and he was in good shape. He is in good shape, and he was pretty good for the fact that he haven't wrestled in a long time. He got back in the ring and wrestled in a few matches in wXw, and he was very good. And I wished that he was I wish that he had won the shortcut battle royal, so could finish his story. But yeah, when a wrestler comes back after that long time, I understand that they want that he pays his dues at first in the WXW ring before they give him a shot at the world title. So, yeah, the shortcut battle royal. He didn't want the shortcut battle royal, but I think if he would have wrestled a longer time in WXW, he would have eventually get another shot at the world championship, or another chance to earn himself another shot at the world title, and maybe he would have won it. But for some reason, I don't know what reason. I think no. I think I know the reason. The reason was that he wanted. Uh, I think the reason was that he wanted. That's. I'm sorry. I'm very tired. Still a little bit. I think the reason was that his family came a little bit short, so he wanted to go back and be a father again and a husband, and uh, that is more important, obviously. But I think maybe maybe he will make a comeback. Maybe he will make a comeback someday, and tries it again to go for the world title. And competes against some wrestlers, or makes some matches again, or maybe he will be at the next shortcut battle royal again. Who knows? And maybe he will win this time and finally can finish his story. We will see what happens. I wish him well, whatever he decides to do. He obviously is still a commentator, a German commentator at WWE. But I would love to see him in the ring again, and I would obviously love to see him win the world title. You have seen the WXW t-shirt. I have also a cap from WXW. Here, you can see with the snapback, I think. That's called. I need those things because I have a big head. Yeah. And that's why I need those things at the back to adjust them to my head. So yeah, you have seen this merchandise from WXW and from former WCW superstars, and the next video will be about I think the company the next video will be about the t-shirts from the wrestlers from the company formerly known as Impact Wrestling, that is called TNA, Total Nonstop Action again. Okay. So that was it with part number 1. Yeah. This were my t-shirts from former WCW wrestlers, and yeah, some t-shirts from wXw and Sebastian Heckel, one of the wXw wrestlers. And yeah, so you saw also my cap from wXw. This were part one of it. In the next part, I will talk about my TNA t-shirts. The Impact Wrestling, the formerly known as Impact Wrestling, which is called again now TNA, Total Nonstop Action. So yeah, what can I say? See you in the next one. Your boy, Master Chief Mike.